Yo, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. And so this is kind of like really interesting that I just read right now. And I wanted to make a video about this and kind of just share this with you guys. It's not in any way like an absolute thing that's going to happen, but it's kind of cool. And so I wanted to speak on it. As you guys know, that I'm a big fan and lover of technology. And so this warrants that. But anyways, so if you guys, subscribe to the Bloomberg, in their publication under technology, there is a recent article posted. It's talking about Apple has a secret team working on satellites to beam data to devices. Okay, so initially they're wanting to build and launch into orbit satellites that will beam data connectivity to your iPhone. Like, how cool would that be if that was the norms, not just for iPhones, but for Androids and whatever else comes out of the woodwork in the future? I mean, how much bandwidth do you think you'd get from a satellite beaming data directly to your pocket computers instead of relying on tower build-outs all across the country? And how much towers would have to go down, especially ones that are put in like in the forests, or places of nature, like all those towers that they build to camouflage itself so it doesn't become an eyesore. Like they could just take those down. Of course, wishful thinking, and yes, other companies have attempted to try and do this. Facebook attempted to do this. Amazon has attempted to do this. Hold on, there's some other ones here that they mentioned. I'm not going to read verbatim exactly what they said, but let's see. Where was it at? They mentioned several other ones that actually tried to do it, and they were unsuccessful in doing it. I'm trying to see where that point was. But anyhow, while I'm looking for it, so initially, Apple is technically, they have a project together. They have a project, and within that project, they are looking at ways of basically building out satellites that would directly connect with your iPhone and deliver data connection to your iPhone, which I think is actually pretty cool. Pretty cool to do that. Of course, it's not one satellite that they're going to launch. Obviously, they're going to have to launch at multiple satellites basically to cover the globe. But there's one thing that I know about Apple. Okay, the one thing I know about them. In the years of following what they do, especially with them being competition to Android, which I love, you always got to watch the opposition and see what they're going to do. And one of the things that they do when they come up with like ideas, projects and things like that, is like they won't invest time into developing it unless they see, a kickback. Apple will not come out with something unless they're going to make money off of it and they see a clear path how they're going to make money for it, or how they're going to make money from it, not for it, but from it. So could that possibly be that maybe Apple might in the future, if they do this, right? If they build these satellites and they launch them into orbit, does that mean that Apple's going to step into the mobile connection game? Are they going to compete against Verizon, AT&T, and whoever the fourth carrier is going to be, and T-Mobile? It's a possibility. I mean, if you look at it right now, Google has done that to a degree, not entirely. Okay, Google Fi is Google's mobile data connection, mobile service for pocket computers, smartphones. Yet they don't have their own network, so they rely on 3 different networks to give their customers coverage. Okay, so if Apple was to do this, so that way they can beam data connections to iPhones directly from a satellite, obviously means that they may be considering stepping into the mobile cellular data game by using their satellites that they build to provide data connection to iPhones. And by doing so, I can see where they see that they're going to make money from this, right? Because let's be honest, launching a satellite into space is not cheap. Okay, it's not like, hey, I got a satellite, I want to launch it into space, so I got $150 to pay for it to go. Like, no, it's not even like that. Like, rocket fuel alone costs a buttload of money. Okay, just to fill up a rocket with rocket fuel so it can launch it into space, that's that. The time and money and effort that's put in to set up a launch to launch, you know, a rocket into space is huge. Okay. And of course, Apple's not going to want to do this if they're going to have to spend a lot of money to do this, which then would mean that they would have to either take a huge loss in revenue to fund this program or charge their customers a high rate. So that wouldn't make sense, right? Because I'm sure Apple's not going to want to increase the price of their iPhones to $3,000 per unit just so that way they can fund this program. They're not going to do that. But I do see where they could make money from. I do see it. And this is where I think that, you know, that they're looking at it from. Yeah, it's going to cost them a grip of money to do this, to launch a couple of satellites, you know, into space, to be able to design new iPhones that have a solid connection with those satellites that are beaming data connection to these iPhones. I do see it. And that comes in the form of MVNOs. I know some of you guys will be like, well, MVNOs are not going to have that much customers. And you're right. They're not going to. But I can see, let's say Apple successfully launches this program and it does well. It does so well that more and more people are just buying iPhones just to have that type of data connection because of the bandwidth that you can get from a satellite beaming data to your device. They're going to have a better experience. So at least I'm thinking that, okay? So people start buying more iPhones, right? And Android sales start to plummet. Unless Google does the same thing, but I'll get to that at the end of this video of what I think of that. But let's say they do that, right? So 16 new MVNOs spawn, and say these MVNO companies that spawn are only going to sell iPhones. They're only going to sell iPhones, no Androids. Or if they do sell Androids, the Androids will only rely on the infrastructure, the network that we have built out across the country right now. But iPhones is going to be better, right? So they could charge a higher premium rate for the plan because of the type of data connection it's going to have being connected to a satellite, right? And yeah, so these MVNOs are like, yeah, we're going to sell iPhones. We're only going to sell in this particular market, and we're going to pay you, you know, $123 million a year for our customers in our market to connect to your network. Yeah, right. 16, right? So Apple can see in the long run of where they're going to make money from, because new MVNOs are definitely going to pop up if this style of network is built out. New MVNOs are going to pop up, and yes, they won't be able to directly compete against Apple because Apple holds the key to everything. So maybe like this MVNO will only sell and service from like Texas to Louisiana. This MVNO only sells and services from Washington State to Oregon. But it still leaves like a broader area of the country uncovered by these MVNOs. These MVNOs are going to make money from current customers in those markets enough to sustain their business, but not to overly grow and compete against Apple. I can see that. Now, as far as Google, will Google do the same thing? I sure hope so. I mean, if this is successful for Apple, if they make this happen, I would think Google would do it as well. But my only fear with Google is that they tend to F things up when they try, right? Like, I love the Pixel phones. I will defend the Pixel phones to the end, which actually, to be honest with you guys, I won't, because they're just phones. But I just say that, you know, just to emphasize how much I like Pixels. But they do some things wrong. They do some things wrong. And sometimes it's very painful, and sometimes it's very like, gosh, Google, what are you doing? It's always that point. But I say, if Google was to launch their own satellites into space and then build their own network structure out based upon it, and then completely remove Google Fi away from dependent on T-Mobile and US Cellular, I just have this feeling that they're just going to totally mess up. Because you got to think, too, how much it's going to cost to send people out into space to service those satellites annually. The companies are going to be spending big bucks to have such a powerful network like that. So they gotta see some form of like major kickback, major residuals off of it if they intend to do this. So when does Apple intend to do this? They're hoping, it's not set in stone, but they're hoping in 5 years from now they should have a breakthrough in 5 years from now. And so we'll see. Anyways, you guys could read the article for yourself. Like I said, from Bloomberg themselves, they reported on it. It does talk about some like other companies that are initially trying or looking for the same ideas but are coming up with fails. So you guys can read all about that, get to know the ins and outs of it. Is it something that's definitely going to happen? Again, let me reiterate this. No, but it's a pretty dang good idea. And yeah, maybe I'll talk more about it in the future. But until then, if you guys enjoyed today's topic episode here on Aloha Android, smash that like button to let me know. If you just found this video, I would definitely appreciate a subscribe. And if you did hit that subscribe button, thank you so much for doing so. But also hit the bell notification to be notified when I do upload videos like this, so you guys won't miss an episode. And yeah, we're almost ready. We're almost to Christmas, guys. Almost to Christmas. I'm happy. I am happy, okay? And I'm sure you guys can see that in this video because I'm normally not like this, all right? I swear, there's nothing that's interfering with my thought process right now. I'm just happy. And you know what? Because I'm so happy, to all of you guys who watch this video, I love you guys so much. You guys are amazing. And you know what? Merry Christmas to you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, whatever holiday you celebrate, happy holidays to you, right? I hope you guys feel the love because I do. And until the next time, guys, as always, aloha, mele kalikimaka.